A very warm welcome, Mr. Anuj Galgotia, for our today's V Lounge.
Thank you.
And we are happy to have you with us. So, starting with your professional journey, I would like to ask you, from the time you graduated and from where you are today, how has the journey been so far?
It has been a very interesting journey.
Okay.
It's a long journey and still miles to go, but it has been an interesting journey, a journey where I could learn a lot.
Okay, and if you could know how many years back did you start your journey, your professional journey?
Professional journey 1990.
Okay.
So you can say 27 years.
Okay,
Seems
that's
like a
great.
long time. Yeah.
Right. And how did HR happen to you?
HR, I was always interested in strategic management, and of course that was after my MBA. So when the time came for picking up a specialization, some core papers, so I opted for HR because finance actually was not my cup of tea.
Okay.
So got towards HR because it was definitely very interesting,
Okay.
and those were the times when HR was coming to be recognized as a different part of management, in the sense it was being considered as away from personnel management. It was coming on its own as a human resources in our country.
So you definitely have to be good with people and understanding people to get into this?
You don't start with that. Over a period of time, you gain those insights. It's not easy. You cannot read up all about human beings. And HR is all about relating with people
Okay.
and getting them to do what you want for business objectives. Now that comes over a period of time. So HR is not you start today and tomorrow you are managing the people.
Yes.
It's not like that. A lot has changed. At the same time, a lot has not changed, in the sense HR deals with people. It is about people. So you cannot have suddenly one law coming in and everything changes about HR, because people's behaviors, they are a reflection of the society, their own makeups, and that takes years, decades to change.
True.
So HR, when it comes to the real human resources management and how you manage people, how you relate with people, that does not change so fast. But when it comes to transactional management, how we used to look at organizations, how we used to look at the elements of managing people in terms of personnel management, the payroll function, so many other functions, they have changed drastically, because
Basically, the technology has changed and made things easier for HR.
yes, absolutely. The transactions have been all taken over by technology.
Okay.
So what used to take hours and hours, now it takes seconds and everything is available. So HR has gone, it has, like, the transactions have been taken away.
Okay.
In HR, we are not allowed to say that this is difficult or that is difficult. We take things as it goes, and admin is chaotic. The first thing that any HR manager or any admin manager can do is to deal with chaos. Perhaps in management, we are trained to deal with chaos from the day one.
Yes.
So if you are able to deal with chaos, if you are able to streamline things, processes, then it all fits into place. There's nothing very difficult.
Okay. So I'm sure it has helped in your personal life as well, managing, with your family and managing things at home related to.
Yeah, managing family is not so simple. Managing family, and especially that is something that is best left to the spouse, who's taking full care, because we are part-timers over there.
Yes.
We work full-time in the companies, but we are part-timers at home. So the best is to empower people and move on. So you empower I have empowered my wife, and she is the manager over there.
Okay.
So future plans, yes, while real estate has been a very good journey, you can do so many things over there. But then when it comes to the future, I look forward to a bigger role in terms of a bigger canvas where there would be a you like to grow up in life, you would like to grow up in your career and be managing bigger units, bigger complexities.
Yes.
So that is what I am looking forward to.
So now talking about the HR industry, HR today is of course a necessity, and even for startups, keeping in mind the role of HR, we'd like to share some of your insights with us. So, should a CHRO occupy a position in the member of an executive committee team? What do you think about that?
Certainly. HR, of course, it is about people management, but it is basically a function of business. So no business, there would not be any HR, requirement of an HR. Everybody for that matter is a people manager. But then we are in place because we have to balance business and people.
Yes.
So definitely it gives the importance that HR deserves can only be reflected when HR is well represented in the company's committees, especially the executive committee or the board of directors. It has to be represented. Okay. Now what the CHRO does and how much he is allowed to do when he is on that board, that's a separate matter that will depend from company to company and the culture that the company wants to grow and develop.
Okay. So moving forward, also, do you think the CHRO can occupy a position in the board of directors team?
Certainly, as I said, yes, he should be part of the board of directors because the CHRO, all said and done, is the prime leader.
Okay.
Yes, he is in the shadow of the chief executive officer in leadership, but at the same time, the CHRO is a leader to whom people can walk up to and ask what's going on. So the CHRO needs to know. He cannot at any point in time appear, very much surprised at what is going on. He has to be controlling the situation in the sense he has to know what is going on. So yes, I feel he should be in the board of directors where he is able to see how things are coming, the vision, he is able to relate with it. And for all you know, I'm 100% sure once he's on the board, he'll be able to contribute a lot more to business than what a CHRO, at least in India, is assumed to be contributing.
Okay.
A lot of strategy, see, for example, like I was saying about my decision to get into HR, it was all because HR practically owns the strategic function. It is fashionable, or you can say the field has been taken over by corporate strategists who work with numbers, who are basically finance people. But a very important part of a strategy is the ability to bring changes into organizations, and for that, human resource people, they are trained in that.
Okay.
It's not a simple matter of taking up an Excel sheet and coming up with a strategy that okay, I'll merge this company with that company. A lot of mergers and acquisitions go wrong only because the human aspect was not factored into it in the very beginning.
Yes, I believe so.
So human resources function, the CHRO can be thought of owning the strategic function.
Okay.
He is not merely somebody who's just looking at things as they happen. He has to own, he could have owned the strategic management function and bring about the changes which mean so much for the companies.
Okay, rightly said.
Yeah.
So how effective or involved is the HR role in building a sustainable business model?
100%. 100%. There are no two ways about it. And I'll be saying it because I am from HR. For me, HR is HR. HR is the word. And that is so much true. In our times, when we started, other functions used to take a lot of prominence, especially because, things were scarce. So look at today's times. Nothing is scarce. I mean, you want to buy a particular type of furniture, dime a dozen choices you have got. You give me the money, I'll buy you a full-fledged running office today by the evening. You give me anything I can buy, but people cannot be brought into an organization like that.
Yes.
It takes time to build teams. It takes time to make those teams deliver to their best, and that's what makes HR so much challenging as well as interesting. It is not something that can be done overnight. It takes entire lifetimes to build culture into organizations, to build the right culture. And once you have that, you create an organization which will last beyond your lifetime, beyond so many lifetimes. Just imagine the power of the function.
Yes, yes. So the company is actually known by the people and its culture, right?
Certainly. You won't, even if you think about it, yes, companies do come up with huge, fantastic buildings, office buildings and all that. But do you remember any one company with a building? So we all talk about GE, but do we relate GE with the one building?
No.
Or we talk about Tata? So do you, when you talk about Tatas, what comes into your mind? Is it the building which comes to your mind, or the people who work with Tata? So that's what matters. HR always see diversity. It's like these are, when you're a student, these words are coined to make the person understand that these things. So it does not go actually like that you'll be suddenly talking about diversity. Diversity is nothing. It's about accommodating people with different skill sets, accommodating people with different abilities, accommodating people with different maybe places of origin where they are coming from. So it is all about accommodating.
Yes.
And accommodating does not mean that I am tolerating substandard performances. It is about creating a synergy, something like a 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. So what? If the more the diversity, the better will be the results.
Yes.
As is the case of United States, where you have people from all the possible ethnic and a lot of diversity is there, and the results is for all for us to see.
Yes. So same goes for India, I guess. A lot of different cultures, different people, different traditions.
Yes.
Mindsets and everything.
Yes, and any progressive country should always, and any progressive HR for that matter, should always promote diversity.
Yes. So a lot of companies are now using social media that is traveling very fast and in today's generation. So how can candidates develop their own idea of companies' values and brand quite quickly?
See, social media is there now. We all are into it. It has become basically a very dynamic electronic community out there. We are all there. So we if you think about it, we are existing right now here. As well as I am right now existing on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, so on and so forth. And there is a intimate group of WhatsApp also, which is very instantaneous. Now, companies, organizations also have to similarly evolve to be existing in several places. So all of us are becoming Krishnas. So you are here and you are there as well. Over here, we are the real self. But over there also now, what the whole concept of reality, what is the reality also is in a question.
Yes.
So you have to create should not be using the word facade, but then at the same time, there is a need to create a very good image, and you mean that.
Yes.
So the more you do about the right things, the more you will be changing to that, which is what will come up when it comes to the values. Everything has to fall in place. And media, one thing is there, which I must say, is the social media especially is a very sensitive and a very delicate thing to handle.
Yes.
So the companies have to really believe in what they are doing there. They have to be transparent. So if a company is saying that we are tops when it comes to customer service, it better be that, because if it does not live up to the things that it is saying that it is, there will be definitely somebody who will come up and challenge that claim.
Yes.
So that all that is making it very interesting, trust me, and lots of opportunities there over there. HR is about people. So how does it help? Yes, it is about customer centricity only. Customers also are people. So for HR, we say that the employee is my end customer. So HR is supposed to be trained in people centricity, whether it is for customer or it is for the employee or for the vendor.
Yes.
So that people sensitivity, the people centricity has to be, it has to be, so whatever policies that you make, everything, so once you treat your people right, so you treat first of all, your employees right. How do you treat your employees right? You treat your employees right from the first stage. When they come to you as a candidate, how do you talk to them? How long do you make them wait?
Yeah.
Do you live up to their expectations of a quick response? Do they get to know what happened to their application? Then when they become a candidate, how do you treat them? When they become an employee, how do you treat them as a new employee? How do you take them around the building? How much ownership do you give to them? Are you still treating experienced people like management trainees? Are you giving them too much instructions? Are you telling them on the first day of work, hello, no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no nothing, right? So you have to treat people in toto, as a whole, as people. And once you do it, you will be hiring the right people. And once you have hired the right people, it is not at all difficult to get into customer centricity and creating the best customer value in your organizations.
Okay.
That's how one has to look at it.
So I guess first is going to be employees, your company people, and then if they are happy, they are going to keep the customers happy. And
Certainly. It is definitely about it. A person, an employee who's himself very unhappy or maybe sad because of this, he cannot be smiling at the customers. And even if he smiles, he'll be giving a very plastic smile.
Definitely.
Real estate. I happen to work in real estate for the last almost 10 years. Real estate industry is not given the kind of importance that it deserves in our country. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, it is kind of a despised industry where people say, oh, real estate. The fact of the matter is that real estate is the most important industry in this country. And especially in times like this, when China or any other country can dump any amount of things over here and there won't be any takers and the values will decline. Luckily, homes cannot be imported so far.
Yes.
So that means that the real estate industry will remain and should remain. And all of us, we especially in a city like Mumbai, the kind of accommodation we live in, for 90% of the people in this city, it is substandard.
Yes.
You don't have any industry in the country where you have so much of a need, and I'm not saying demand, I'm saying need for good houses, for good accommodations. Nowhere, in no other industry. But when it comes to real estate, it has tremendous need. The only problem is, where is the demand? And the demand depends on overall what is the kind of economic phase we are going through. It depends on a lot of factors, and the worst sufferers is the real estate industry. And the fact is, all of us suffer. So today you are not able to live in a house of your dreams because you can't afford it. It's not due to the real estate industry, it is because how our entire economic system is planned and kept. So that is the problem with the real estate industry. A lot of things are, the strength is, yes, there is tremendous need. So real estate, even when you talk about Mumbai or even any other place, there will be a need for real estate. All of us will be staying in houses for a long term. And weaknesses, yes, it depends on the entire economy. So the economy is not doing well, you can't have a real estate industry which will be doing well. And trust me, lowering the prices can never happen. The prices will never get lower. If they go low, you will not still be able to buy because your salary also will diminish. So that will always be there. Opportunity again comes from the same thing. There is tremendous opportunity. The threat is, yes, the one threat is that it needs huge support from the banking and the finance sector. Real estate is not for anybody to come up with a house. So it needs a lot of support. That again depends on the overall situation in the economy, banking, commerce, all of this adds up.
Sure.
So yes,
Sort
that's
of
how.
loan facilities and interest rates and all.
That is happening
getting
right now
picture,
also.
yes,
That is happening
yes.
right now also. That will always be there. The more a country is developed, the more choices you get.
Yes.
So in United States, you can get a mortgage very quickly, and in India also that is becoming the scene. The only thing is that yes, things are changing. One thread that I get to one can realize is that, like, just 2-3 years back, you would have never thought that home ownership or a car ownership may be an issue.
Definitely.
Right? Today, so many of youngsters like you don't actually have to buy cars.
So,
In the earlier times, you would have been, very much motivated to buy quickly a car of your choice.
yes.
Today, you think, fine, I can get any car of my. I'll go to Uber. I'll get my car in from Ola. You don't
Yes.
have to. You can be traveling in the best of cars. Now, home ownership is also going to become like that. It is already becoming like that. So, all of you guys, youngsters, you might be knowing about Airbnb.
Yes, yes.
It's all about now just take one step ahead and think that Airbnb starts giving you homes for, let us say, 6 months, 1 year, then you don't have to buy a home.
Yes, yes. It's become
Things
much
will change.
easier and-
So is that a threat or an opportunity? That is again an opportunity. Real estate is about building, and real estate is about development. For a developing country, as a matter of fact, real estate should have been a very prized industry. It should have been an industry for which the whole nation, the whole country should have supported,
Yes,
because it is totally linked to development.
infrastructure and
Absolutely, you can't have a country growing and developing if you don't have real estate there.
Definitely, definitely. And how do you think demonetization has affected real estate?
It is like contrary to popular perception that real estate is dealing in all those demonetization and it gets cash. Sorry, it does not happen like that. Cash, if you burn cash, so demonetization was more like that. So I don't know. I don't think so. From where I
There's a
am,
perception that
it's all perception. It is all perception. See, realtors, the real estate people, the industry people, they don't go to anybody and knock on your door and say that, boss, do you have any cash? We'll take it from you. It does not happen like that. Now what happens? What happens is that the people who are generating that cash, who are generating black income, they approach the realtors.
Yes, yes.
They come to them with their bags of cash and say, boss, do anything, but we'll see at a later time. So if I come to you and give you a bag of cash, will you refuse to take it? You'll definitely find a way to make use of it. So it's more like that. So demonetization, etc. See, these days it is very difficult to find the reality from the perception,
Yes.
because there is so much. Everybody can be broadcasting anything.
Definitely.
So one has to be cautious, and that is one kind of advice I can give to the student community, that don't be jumping to conclusions. Do your research, form your ideas, reflect, and then come to conclusions.
So now going for a HR industry for a new recruit, so for the management students who are just going to pass out and looking for a job in the HR, so what does one look at from a candidate during campus interviews, and what are the things they should prepare for?
For the campus interview, yes, one thing that, whenever we go to the campus, when I'm looking for, especially for HR, HR people have to be well read. They have to have a certain degree of depth. Because if you're talking about HR professionals in the sense qualified professionals,
Yes,
if you are talking about people who are starting without a qualification, getting into, let's say, payroll, etc., fine, we can do with them, they can learn all those things during their career. But students who are starting with a degree in their hand, the expectation is that they will be well read.
Yes.
At least they have to be well read when it comes to organizational theory, when it comes to management science, because that's what I expect.
Okay.
them to have a lot of understanding in, because their role is to make other people understand. So they have to know, even if they are not joining as a general manager HR in the first job,
Yes.
then also a management trainee will be reporting into a deputy general manager or somebody. So he has to be at least well read
Okay.
to understand what is being talked about.
Okay.
And yes, a person definitely learns a lot. There is nothing to be nervous about. But there should be a genuine interest in people, genuine interest in how people work together. And the person has to be very forward looking, full of energy also.
Okay.
And that is very important. Energy is something which is, which is striking. I can make out, we look at people and we are able to see that, yes, this is an energetic person.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is very important.
So I'm sure this is a good point. So to
Yeah,
start off
yeah,
with-
maybe I was not as energetic as I am earlier. Assessment, see, it comes over a period of time. The simplest assessment is about asking matters which are like kind of factual. I can ask about something that you have learned, some book you have read, something like that. More about it when it comes to assessment of the behavior of the person, then the interviewer himself has to develop that over a period of time. Yes, there are plenty of tools available. There are plenty of battery of tests available. Psychometric testing is in vogue. Then I recently came across an ad just in the Times of India, which was talking about artificial intelligence in assessing candidates. I think it's an insult to human beings if you subject them to testing. We look at a full person. You have to give respect to people, especially people who are coming to with an aspiration of working for you, with your company, in your organization.
Yes.
You have to respect them. They come with a full package. I think it's an over enthusiasm. It's okay to subject them to one test or the other, but subjecting, it's like I put a robo here to be interviewing you. Yes, I can, in a day's time, I can create an ATM kind of a machine. I'll ask you to put your finger there and all those things. Is it the done thing? It's not done thing. So profiling, these are things, these are tools. You can't be using all the tools all the time. And the tools have to be used by somebody. So first the professional has to know which tool to use when, rather than depending on only the tools. The tools won't do anything.
So even if they don't fare well in the test, they still stand a chance.
Certainly. I mean, who says selection is about selecting the perfect people? There's nobody who's perfect. People come in packages.
Definitely.
And this is one thing which is very important, which again I would like to share with the students, that they should not be nervous about it. Not at all. It's about, and for HR especially, we are in the job of, basically we should be sellers of hope.
Yes.
We should be sellers of excellence. Sellers, I hope you understand, we have to be promoting
Yes.
excellence. We have to be
Promote
promoting.
yourself first,
So
right?
we are also in the business of promoting success.
Yes.
And HR has to be more bothered about ensuring that the candidate who comes in has to be successful.
Yes, definitely. So what is that one skill that is a must-have in a candidate? What is the first thing you would look?
Energy, enthusiasm.
Okay.
So that has to be showing on his face. He has to be full of energy, good responses, preparation, all of that. Yeah, fine analysis is very important these days. Analytics, and when I say analytics, I don't mean the sophisticated tools of business analytics. That is, it depends what kind of a function you are entering into. But a basic analytical mindset and an ability to work with computers, that is an essential these days. Of course, and that is, I don't know whether you can call it a very differentiating skill, because everybody is on the Android and doing things, so that way it is not like the earlier times. But then it is one thing to generally know something, and yet another thing to be working, for example, on Excel.
Yes.
So the tools the youngsters ought to know, and I think the most of the faculties of management, etc., they are also emphasizing on that. So I see a very good set of candidates who come in who know all those things very well.
So they're inculcating that in the syllabus as well these days.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a
Yeah.
must. Yeah.
So the candidate being a fresher, do you think all of these assessments and value, since he's only a fresher and candidates at his age develop these habits as time goes?
Certainly, certainly. As I said, profiling a fresher is the worst thing you can do. I mean, he's half cooked. He is what? He has just learnt a few things, and especially in the field of HR, HR is more learnt while we are in the journey. So nobody who can say that, hello, I have come out of XLRI and I know all about HR. I think that would be a very wrong statement to make.
Okay.
I mean, you can be coming out from anywhere, but then you have to learn people. Every person is different.
Yes.
Every person's behavior is different, and there's a lot to learn. And people's behaviors change, people change, the society changes. So earlier you did not know. We used to be shy about posting any photograph.
Yes.
You know, only the very intimate set of people would get to see our birthday pictures or maybe our pictures of our travels.
Okay.
Today we post it on the internet quickly.
Yes.
So things are changing, behaviors are changing. That is something again any HR person is trained in. Over a period of time you learn that. So first is when you have a position, we get a position from the function, or we develop a position ourselves based on the organization structure. We have to first of all visualize who we are looking for. So the person we create in our mind, that is the most important thing which one has to understand, that it is not about reading a job description, it is not about reading what qualification, etc. First you have to develop that visualization, that kind of a mental image. What am I looking for? What is it like we say, what kind of a girl I am looking for, what kind of a boy I am looking for. So you have a mental image. So similarly in HR we have to have that clear concept, what kind of a person I am looking for. And then from there, once you have it, finding a match is a very simple matter.
Yes. So you have your priorities listed and then you
Yeah, it's all in the mind that you read it and you think about it. And so that's why I'm saying at any point in time, it's not, I come across people who read this and who have never reflected. Now reflection takes place when you have read and then your mind goes and builds on that.
Yes.
That is reflection. It has to be both. It has to be both. Only participation means the person is simply trying to get aggressive and be heard. So assertion and aggression, all that comes out. But then when you have a valid point, when you have a valid content, you will be heard. Don't worry. So one need not be impatient. Yeah, group discussion, I have attended naturally. I have also been into all those. So group discussion, yes, my strategy was silence.
Okay.
And then when so many people are being noisy and trying to be assertive, there will definitely be a moment of silence.
Sure.
Look for that moment of silence, be ready to speak something which has content. And that's what makes the difference. The rest is, of course, take it as it comes.
So even if you speak less, you have to speak to the point, I believe.
You have to, the art of conversation, yes, you have to engage with people.
Yes.
It is a combination. You can't be just speaking, and you can't be speaking at everybody.
Yeah.
In the sense, there has to be engagement. So there has to be, your body language, your eye contact, or everything has to be coordinated. So yes, it comes through practice. And it comes through guidance also. It needs it's good if students can get the services of a coach, if they can learn that they should be attending mock sessions. A good candidate shows up in preparation. That is very important. It is part natural, fine. But part preparation, why you should not be preparing for a particular job interview? Why you should not be preparing for a group discussion? Yes, preparation is part of it.
So confidence comes from preparation.
Yes, yes, that will show up. If you are prepared, you will be confident.
Yes, yes. Definitely. So now we're going to move on a lighter note and going to ask some questions personally. So the first thing would be, what is the first thing you do when you enter your office?
Those are moments of silence. So I sit quietly there, no phones ringing, nothing. I sit quietly, take a glance at the paper,
Okay.
and yeah, then I can see the day ahead of me. And then it starts in the sense I don't like surprises, so naturally I have to organize. I have to organize the chaos, like I said. So then it is a review. This is how a day starts. A day should be starting not more like a jet plane where you come on the runway, you are taxiing very slowly and nicely, and then suddenly you change the gears and it zooms away. It goes
So
like
you make
that.
a plan of action in the first thing in the morning?
Yeah, it develops, it gets reviewed. So it's
Yes.
all about that. It's more about silence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So which is the one thing that you like most and least about your job?
What I like about my job is the ability to be on the driver's seat, the ability to run my function as I would like to. So a lot of things that I can do, and one can immediately shift gears,
Okay.
see the action of see the result of your actions, whatever you do, whatever policies you make, you are able to see. What I don't like is what I'm aspiring for. That is, yes, the canvas of the organization looks smaller now.
Okay.
I would like to be with a bigger canvas, more complexity, because this is something now. It's like a book which I have read once.
Okay.
Now, fine, I can always be improvising, but I need to. I'm looking forward to some newer book. It's more like that. So this explains what I like or I don't like. Yeah.
It's become a little monotonous at the present.
Kind of, yes, you're right. Yes, somewhat. Yes, if you've mastered something, then fine. Now you know all that. But yes, one can always be improvising, as I said.
Yes.
But good to have a bigger canvas, a different canvas, so you can start something else. So it's like that.
That's great.
The strength, when I look back, is resilience. Resilience means staying put. Resilience means also maybe finding new ways to do different things. So I don't give up so easily. I'll be able to figure a way out. That is something that I can look back and relate to, and that gives me a lot of confidence. When it comes to weakness, yes, everybody has moments of weakness. You get you get disturbed, upset about things not happening. Then all said and done, it ends up. I mean, so fine. It's good to have a reality check,
Okay.
and once you have had your reality check, you make plans. You make further programs, and then you go about it. So it's a constant cycle of improving yourself, moving on, taking the next step, strategizing, again looking at yourself, moving on. So it's like you never know when one thing ends and the other thing starts. And a very important thing which is resilience, and of course that comes to my mind, is creativity. Though you only asked for one, I'm sorry, I have to say another one. Innovation and creativity is very important. One has to constantly be finding new ways of doing things, so that creativity and innovation definitely puts you in a good state. Yeah.
Yeah. So without being told, you have to be innovative and creative, so that will take you ahead.
Every moment.
Yes. So what makes you happy? One thing that makes you happy.
A job well done makes everybody happy, I would assume, and that is what is for me also.
Okay.
The feeling of success I think is again a universal smile maker.
Yeah.
So these are the things which I always aspire for: success, more success, a drive towards excellence. These are the things that drive me basically.
Okay. And if you have to describe yourself in one word,
Mm-hmm.
so what that would be?
One word. I'll borrow one more word from you. I can't do with one word. I can't think of one word. One word. What's next is what I'm looking for. What's next? There has to be something next so that I can keep on having one agenda after another. Creative. All of that keeps me intact.
Okay, interesting. So your current company, what does it mean to you?
Well, it is my job, and I feel there's a sense of belonging in the sense I'm not there only for myself. Yes, we are also responsible. Being senior managers, we are also responsible for how my employees feel. I am responsible. I am available for them as a shoulder on which they can come and cry on.
Okay.
So. This is what a company means. A company, the meaning of the word company itself is like you have a company of friends.
Yes.
So company is not necessarily something which is legal. A company is also you work with a set of people.
Yes.
That's my company. So they are my people. So that's what it means to
So
me.
basically a feeling of belongingness and
Certainly,
responsibility.
that is something that is so elementary, and I feel that we make HR and the entire organization management something of a rocket science when it is not. It's simple. It is like you would manage your home. There has to be a sense of belonging, a very high sense of belonging. You have to breathe. You have to live for that organization. That is how one has to describe.
Okay, okay. So moving forward, what is your favorite destination?
Favorite destination? Yeah, Venice.
Venice. Okay.
Venice or maybe Paris, but
So
Venice,
you like
superb.
old historic monuments.
Venice has that old world charm.
Yes.
Maybe you may not like it.
Mm.
It is slightly, you've got into some other era. It's a different time.
Okay.
No matter if you want to run fast, you can't run very fast there. You'll step into a canal. So you better mind your steps over there. So that is a different place and lots of culture. Yeah, that's why Venice is Venice. Traveling, I don't know if you mean career, but then yes, I would love to travel. Love to travel. Give me $1 million and I'll travel.
Okay, so that would be your one love?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
travel.
So, Mr. Anuj Galgotia, if you were to complete the sentence, Anuj at 18, so how would you complete it?
Anuj at 18 was kind of confused what to do. 18 is when perhaps I must have done my 12th in.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, kind of confused, yeah, what to do, what career to take, go for, yeah.
Anuj at 25.
Very much sure of himself, very much sure. I was well into my first job, yeah, and with Hutco, so lots of good memories. Anuj at 25 definitely was happy.
Okay. And very much confident.
Yeah, long journey ahead.
Okay. And Anuj at 30.
30 was a very landmark year. I got married when I was 30, perhaps 29, 30, and went to Canada. Yeah, I was still discovering Anuj at 30 or Anuj at 40 or Anuj at 25. You can go on Anuj at whatever age was always what's next. So it has been a very long and a very, like I said in the first thing that you asked, it has been a very interesting journey.
Yes, yes.
And I can still look forward. It's a long journey ahead as well. So, fantastic. Yeah.
That's good. So what will be your message for the young professionals at Wellinkers?
At Wellinkers or wherever, they have to be number one, very happy and sure of themselves. And do what their heart says. Your generation is so lucky. You have everything in the sense You don't really have to work very hard. You just have to give your heart and soul to it. You don't have to actually be cramming anything.
Yes.
It's sad that we still expect our students to cram this and that and definitions. And just the other day I was with these some students of TISS perhaps about performance appraisal, and like you don't have to cram or go through the definitions and all that. So it is, MBA is a superb this course. So it is all about living it up. So that is one message that I can give, that read, have a lot of interest, have a genuine interest.
Okay.
And then if you develop that, work will never be a drudgery. It will be, you will like, it will be every day you will be walking into your hobby. Na? So nothing can be better than that.
I'm sure people are, all professionals at Wellinkers are going to learn a lot from your invaluable experience, and they are definitely going to get motivated. So thank you on behalf of everyone, and thanks for the interview today.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. Anytime. Thank you.